talk about this today in class because your land grant university, one of the largest diffusion networks there is, uh, and I just went through the land grant stuff a little bit fast last week, and it might be valuable to just tell it one more time. I want you to remember that the land grant institution, so 1862, we're talking about 1862 institutions. So at that time, if you were a doctor or you're a lawyer or a minister, if you wanted to do those things, you'd go to college, but nobody else went to college. So we had Harvard and Princeton, Yale. Those schools are there and have been since the 1600s, but other people didn't go to college. So that was going on. There was also some feelings in the mid 1800s that American agriculture was stagnant. We weren't moving as fast as we needed to scientifically. Europeans were way ahead of us. And then thirdly, the U.S. owned lots of land west of the Mississippi that they had gotten through the Louisiana Purchase, and we needed to settle that. We needed to get that money into private hands so people could start paying taxes on it and get it off the public rolls. So all these things came together. So in 1862, that the Land Grant Act was passed. The problem was that, and whether it's mechanics or agriculture or military, the problem was there wasn't any agriculture to teach. What we knew about agriculture had just been handed down from parents to sons and daughters, and nothing was scientific. When A&M was founded in 1890, they were teaching farmers that if you wanted to supply iron to your peach trees, you would hang horseshoes in them. There were faculty that believed that if they planted more trees, they would prevent evaporation and there would be more rainfall. And so things that scientifically had no merit were being taught, but we didn't have anything else to teach. So again, we've got these land grant colleges that started in 1862, and it was evident that there wasn't anything to teach. So in 1887, federal government passed the Hatch Act, which gave money for all those land grant colleges to hire faculty who would just do research, so we'd have something to teach. And so that was great then. So if you were a college student after 1887, at least what you would learn was what was known by researchers, scientific. And so we had the birth really of scientific agriculture. Well, great if you're a college student at a land grant college, but we had a large percentage of the population were farmers. Maybe they were subsistence farmers and they didn't sell much to supply the economy. But the getting agriculture out just to the college students wasn't enough. And so in 1914, they passed the Smith-Lever Act, and the Smith-Lever Act had money to hire extension educators all over the country. Okay, and so the idea, this knowledge that's being created at the university because the Hatch Act, because these researchers, let's get that out to farmers. And it's not enough to write a bulletin, write a pamphlet, because a lot of those farmers didn't read or couldn't read. And so the idea is, let's put someone out there that can show them through demonstration plots or by doing seminars or workshops how to farm more scientifically with practices that have some scientific basis. We don't just think this is how things work. We've done research, and this is how these innovations can help you. A couple years later, Smith-Hughes Act was passed, and Smith-Hughes Act gave money, and again, everything's done with money so we could hire ag teachers that then would teach vocational agriculture in the public schools. And again, agriculture that was based on scientific information, the information that was being discovered at the universities. So we've got these three parts of a land grant university. We've got the college. The college was there in 1862, or depending on when it started. Then we had the research part, which is 1887. So now we've got the college and we got research. And then finally we added extension in 1914, and that was how we can take what we've learned here at the university out to the people. And so when we talk about land grant colleges, we're already talking about those three parts, but it didn't start out that way. The college was first, okay? Then it took about 25 years before we figured out we needed to do research. Then it took about another 25 years before we figured out that we have extension and take that out to people. People talk about the land grant mission of having that three-part mission of research and extension and the college, but it didn't happen right away. We took us a long time to figure out that diffusion was where we needed to be if we're really going to create change. And remember from class that diffusion or development and research, that why the land grant college has been pretty effective is they spend about equal amounts of money on each. Lots of times we spend lots of money on research, but not much on the diffusion. And so the whole extension system, and you think of vocational agriculture, agricultural education, FFA, 4-H, all those as ways of trying to get scientific agriculture information out to people. I mentioned this in class, but again, where 4-H and FFA came from, FFA were clubs for those boys that were in vocational agriculture to do some things outside of class, some opportunities to do individual work and projects. And 4-H started Saturday mornings when kids went to town with their parents, gave them something educational to do. Boys were encouraged to own a pig or plant an acre of corn and see if they could make money. Girls were encouraged to plant a tenth of an acre of tomatoes, can those tomatoes, and then to preserve them and then sell them. Both of those ideas were about trying to get young people engaged in entrepreneurial pursuits and start making a little money, which we all want. Okay, so again, just a little recap on that. Why you need to know those dates are because the order that it happened, that diffusion happened a lot later. The federal money is what was used to try and get these things started. In 2019, what does a land grant college look like? Well, we still should be reaching out to the common man. We should be trying to take the university out to people. To what extent we do that, that's something we can talk more about. I'll see you next week. Or if you're on the distance, I won't see you next week.